Hi Mary, how are you?
Hi Rachel, how are you?
I'm good. I'm really looking forward to today. So we're talking about relationships,
Yes,
which
significant other relationships. Yeah, yeah.
I think this is going to hit home for a lot of people today. So if you want to just give a quick introduction in regards to your experience working in relationships and what advice you can give today, that'd be
Okay.
great.
Well, I again, being a coach for 20 years, my favorite would be specializing in career change, but second, very close to that is relationship coaching. And probably because, as I say, no coach can take somebody where they haven't gone themselves. I've been through a relationship, a divorce, and then worked on myself, did a lot of work. So I really believe in two things. Relationships exist and will stay as a long, sustainable relationship when you have good communication and the same three top values, both personally and core values. You're talking about personal values, which are separate to core values. When they break down or communication breaks down, well, then there can be problems.
Okay. And you mentioned values there. So if someone is struggling at the moment in a relationship and they've realized there's a bit of a conflict, what could they do today to address that?
Okay, so with values, first of all, when I work with somebody that is looking to meet somebody, a lot of people
Yeah.
are looking out there to meet somebody and they've never consciously looked at what their personal values are. So what do I want in myself and what do I want in another person? So the fastest route to knowing thyself is through your value system. So if you don't know what your top three values are in yourself as a person, how can you find somebody that might be compatible? So I do a lot of work in the workshops of values, personal values. So I want somebody that's ambitious. I want somebody that's generous. And I also want somebody that has a spark, a passion or whatever. So they could be your top values. So I would elicit and work with them on that. Then we talk about core values. So if core values are there, they're the ones, think of your heart, core of who you are. So when we talk about core values, we're talking about family, home, we're talking about career always sits in your core values. But when you're talking about a couple that's not getting on, I always say, let's go back to the drawing board. Let's look at your personal values. Let's look at your core values. Because the chances are, if they're not getting on, something has shifted. And it's either they're not talking and it's that communication, or else it is that all of a sudden they've been flying high, which a couple I worked with were really doing well in business, and then it came back to me a few years later because she wanted some children. I shouldn't say some children. She wanted children. He wasn't so sure because they had a lovely lifestyle. That's a core value issue. So we would work on. I would work with couples on that, because unless you share the same meaning and purpose, unless you're singing from the same hymn sheet, you're not going anywhere with that relationship. Now, in today's environment, as you said, about a couple not getting on, we need to see the person we're with at the moment, our significant other, as our best friend. We need to go into the paradigm shift of treating the person we're living with, working with at home, as if they were our best friend. In other words, no blaming, no disrespecting. And then, if it's the case, you need to communicate something and you feel it's important. What I often suggest is say to somebody, look, at the right time we can talk, we're not rushing anywhere, and we can both sit down. I'm going to start for 5 minutes, pause, then you start talking for 5 minutes, pause, and then together we will talk through whatever the issue is.
Okay. And if just say someone's watching this today and they find themselves in a similar situation and they were to come to you, what would they expect from the coaching working with
Okay,
yourself?
well, I'm very strong about the fact that don't settle for second best. Be true to yourself, because if you're with somebody and you're not in love with them and you don't want the same values, you're not going to treat them well. You're not going to respect them. You're going to resent being with them rather than loving them with them. Don't be with an inner relationship because you have to be. Be in a relationship because you choose to be and really truly want to be in that relationship. That's where the love will exist. That's where the sustainable relationship will exist. So when I'm working with somebody, the first thing I get to do, usually again, I get them to do the temperament profile test to get to know their own personality style, which is great. Because a lot of people have psychological contracts, not just in companies, but at home in the house. And I was coaching this couple, and in the middle of it, she said, well, when you do that, that drives me mad. It drives me mad. And he actually said, you have never told me leaving my underwear on the ground drove you mad. And she turned around and said, I don't need to tell you, you should know. And he goes, no. So that's where sometimes we expect somebody to know something that they don't know anything about. And all relationships exist from beliefs, expectations, and assumptions. And assumptions are very, very dangerous sometimes in relationships. So
Yeah.
There's a lovely man that talks about making marriage work, Dr. John Gottman, and he talks about, which I talk about, the internal map, which is the love map, which is your values, your core values, your personal values. Then giving the person affection and respect, and then sentiment, giving them, working towards them and giving them little compliments now and again. Saying very important. When couples get used to each other, to forget to say thank you for the little things, and it's usually the little things that break up the relationship, not the big ones.
Very true, very true. And if someone was watching today and they'd love to work with you around relationships, how can they contact you?
Well, they can reach me on my website, marykern.ie, www.marykern.ie, or marykern@coachcentre.com, or else 086 232 8143.
Great. And what platforms are you on, social media wise?
I'm on LinkedIn and on Facebook. Yeah.
Great. Okay. Well, look, Mary, thanks a million. Very, very insightful. Thank you very much. And next week, what's next week?
Next week I'm doing the gift of supervision, which is very, very important.
Brilliant.
For people that, especially at the moment, they're working funny in different places, working from home, and it's getting to them and they want to scream. And it's all about supervision. Is all about sitting at the feet of your work and helping you work through and raising the bar to your best self. So that's what we will be talking about next week.
Brilliant. Okay. Well, looking forward to have a great day.
Okay. Thank you, Rachel. You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.